Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Family Fun Force podcast. I'm Jess,
I'm Matt.
and today we are reviewing Pokemon Snap, as in the new Pokemon Snap.
Because they couldn't come up with an original title.
Not Pokemon Snap 2, just new Pokemon Snap.
Kind of like Xbox One, but worse.
It's episode 17. Alright, so new Pokemon Snap is rated E for everyone. It's available exclusively on the Nintendo Switch console. It is a single player game. The type of game you would consider this is a simulation. It is rated 79 on Metacritic. For those of you interested to know, the original game on Nintendo 64 was rated 77. Also, the original Pokemon Snap game came out June 30th, 1999. That makes it 22 years old.
Gross.
This year.
Wait. That's older than my brother. That's funny.
Yes, Pokemon Snap is older than your brother. And my nephew, one of three of my nephews, is older than three of my nephews. All right. Oh, that just reminded me of something we need to talk about later. Don't worry about it. Give you a little synopsis. Seek out and take in-game photos. I guess this is photographs. My brain auto-minimized that. Okay. Seek out and take in-game photographs of Pokemon in their native environments in the new Pokemon Snap trademark game, only on the Nintendo Switch trademark system. Sorry, I copied and pasted from the Nintendo eShop,
has
but it's
the
got
full
the
word.
trademarks everywhere.
Okay. Keep it. It's funny.
All right, snap photos from the Neo 1 as you. Okay, also the fact that it was called Neo 1 made me think of Matrix.
Is there an agent one?
No. Snap photos from the Neo 1 as you encounter and research lively wild Pokemon. You might see unexpected expressions or behaviors, Pokemon patrolling their territory, playing, or lurking in out-of-the-way spots. This new game brings the gameplay of the 1999 Pokemon Snap game from the Nintendo 64 trademark system to life on the Nintendo Switch system, with unknown islands to discover and different Pokemon to see. There was a lot more description still, but I mean, that covers pretty much all of it right there.
It's a rail shooter, but instead of shooting, you're taking pictures.
Correct. I guess so.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Matt. Who's the developer?
Well, it was developed by Bandai Namco, who've made every game ever.
I feel like we've talked about them before. We're doing a lot of Bandai Namco games, huh?
Actually, we haven't done a Bandai
sure?
Namco game in a minute.
Oh, well, we've done it before, though.
Yeah, but yeah, Bandai Namco, famous for Idolmaster, Ace Combat.
I was gonna say Idolmaster's what you're
Idolmaster, that's the one I want to point out. Top of the list there.
I haven't even played that game.
Yeah. Tekken, other games. I'm sure you've seen the logo 800,000 times. And it was published by Nintendo and the Pokemon Company.
All the anime games.
So game mechanics for Pokemon Invasive Tourism. It is an on-the-rails picture-taking game. Advance along map courses, and Pokemon happen all around you, so you have to spin 360 degrees to try to take as many pictures as you can of Pokemon. The pictures get scored based on completely arbitrary and honestly a horrible scoring system that forces you to take. Hey, stop!
We're not in the reviewing system. Don't start judging it in the description.
I'm telling you the game mechanic. Don't interrupt me. The pictures are scored based on a horrible score system that requires you to take mugshots of Pokemon. The pictures are scored based on a scoring system that I don't know how to say it like not negatively.
It's a very simple thing they're requiring from you, which was what I was going to talk about in my review, but it's center frame, full body image.
No, actually, they give you bonus points for taking pictures of just their face.
Well,
you should try it sometime. That's
what the guy says initially. He says center frame and try to get the whole body in the image.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the problem.
But what
complaints is going to be is that their listening for rating system is not how the rating system actually works.
Yeah, like the absolute most points you can get is a full-on mugshot. Anyways, continuing. Interact with the Pokemon by throwing things at them, such as apples. You can play melodies to get them to dance and stuff. And later on in the game, you can get Illumina orbs. Not really going to spoil that. You unlock new islands and times of day. When you return to the islands at different times of day, Pokemon do different things. That's most of the game mechanics right there.
For adults, this is a nostalgic throwback that has the same gameplay but new additions in Pokemon. It's basic and uses standard analog stick for gameplay, making it easy to use and relaxing.
You mentioned
Honestly,
analog stick and mentioned the motion controls.
I'm going to in just a moment. I don't know if I'd like to add anything else for adults. I mean, let's be real. This game is for kids. It, it, if you're a Pokemon fan,
There's Pokemon in it.
yes.
Yep.
I don't know what else an adult would be looking to this game for, other than if they were a Pokemon fan, and that's pretty much the sum of it. So
If you love being a tourist and like taking very touristy photos,
I actually hate that.
well, a lot of people like that.
I did that in middle school, and then I was like, why am I being forced to do this? Oh, because my mother asked me to. I don't like photos. I don't know. All right, Matt, what do you say for
You
adults?
said everything I had. Moving
wanna,
on to children.
Do you want to phrase that in a better way than I said it, though?
Adults might find enjoyment in this game if they like Pokemon and if they like taking very bad photographs. All right,
Okay.
what would kids enjoy?
All right. For kids, this is a cute exploration game with a limited command list.
I removed the word exploration.
This is a cute game with a limited command list. It is easy to learn and uses motion controls as well. Motion controls are a lot better for kids. I actually did not try the motion control option. I would have if my son had actually showed any interest in playing the game, but spoiler alert, every time I played the game, he's like, "When are we going to catch them?" He actually had nothing to do with taking pictures of them and only wanted to catch them. So I guess we need to go back to a normal Pokemon game for him. But the photo manipulation is a cute addition. It offers an online profile to share and rate pictures without a text feature that parents might. Oh, let me reiterate that.
Wow.
It offers an online profile to share and rate pictures without a chat feature that parents might want to avoid. You can change the text captions in photos, but I believe it does look for offensive terminology in those captions and will tell you no.
I'll go ahead and say it. Nintendo's online features have been abused in the past by predatory persons looking for
Yes.
children. So removal of texts is a good thing in the Nintendo Online titles aimed at children.
It's online interaction but with limited contact. I mean, all you're doing is there's a main board that shows like recently posted photos. It only shows you ones that you have access to in terms of the areas, so it won't give you spoilers if you haven't gone to a certain track yet.
Parents, do you know what your child is doing on their Nintendo Switch right now?
Yeah. Um and rating is literally just saying this is a sweet, I think is this it's a sweet medal or something. That's all the interaction that there is. People can go in your profile, they can give you sweet medals for your photos, and that's all there is. So there's not really any inherent risk in, as Matt mentioned, predatory things, but that still you're having interaction with our gamers online. There's also a listing of where you rank worldwide, so that's kind of cool. So it has an online feature, but it's nothing that's going to be something you can concern yourself with. So that's a good thing for kids to have that interaction, but no real risk in that contact. So that's all I got for kids. What do you think about for kids?
Oh, kids like Pokemon. Pokemon are adorable. As far as a game of seeing adorable Pokemon, this is a pretty good one for kids because they don't have to worry about motion controls. Often in first person games, walking and looking are difficult concepts to grasp, so younger kids are way more likely to grasp the looking around aspects of combining the analog stick with the motion controls, which is how I actually played the entire time I played this. I used the combined analog and motion controls. I do believe it's possible to play with only motion controls, but it's probably difficult. The simplified controls and the adorable Pokemon give lots for kids to do. There's lots of pre-planned interactions between Pokemon in the different levels, or islands as they're called. So like each island is a track that you float down on your hovercraft. And playing the same island at the same time of day doesn't guarantee the exact same experience. There are slight variations that happen. So you do have a lot of replayability in finding the exact iteration of the islands that you want to find the Pokemon you want to get pictures of. There's also different times of day and multiple islands that can increase the number of Pokemon and interactions that you can witness. There's too much going on to see it all. It requires playing the same level again and again. Very often, there are things happening 2 or 3 locations simultaneously. So you physically cannot take pictures of all the different interactions that are going on at all times because there's just too much going on. And kids will love being able to save their pictures and edit them post production. They can reframe their pictures. They cannot advance or rewind time at all, but they can reframe the angle of the camera and the zoom, and they can change depth of field, which is as close to photography as it gets. It has a depth of field slider. That's about it. They can also run different filters on their stuff. Nothing really that great. It's just
I unlocked cell shading. I couldn't even
oh.
tell it was supposed to be cell shading.
So what did you not like, Jess?
Um, Shush. Also, real quick, I would like to say I think the fact that there are technically challenges to encourage you to look for certain material is a good add on for adults. I don't know how that would be for kids because honestly, I was having a hard time doing the challenges a bit. But that is another mechanic where you get prompts from the characters that are in the story that you get cutscenes for, and they will be like, hey, I want to see, case in point, they wanted one of the Pokemon to yawn, so you would have to go specifically at night and you would have to try to get a picture of it yawning. I couldn't do that. Or a Pokemon doing a certain ability. Or there was like, oh, there's a Pokemon wrestling around here at night, so go to this area. Or it'll show you a picture of the area and it's like, look for a Pokemon in this area, which I got that one. But that's an added thing I'd say for adults I'd be interested in doing, is getting those challenges done. For the kids, I'm not sure, but that is something there. Okay, so what I do enjoy of the game, I personally really enjoyed how cute everything is. The interactions are enjoyable, the Pokemon are full of variety, and the graphics are good. I honestly didn't really notice too much of the music in this one, but I did like the graphics. I wasn't well, I guess I'll save that for things I didn't like, but I've only played the original game a little bit, but I feel this was a pretty good sequel. I spent more time than I'll admit post editing photos to post my online profile because once you get started on putting stickers everywhere, guys, it's addictive. You want to add mustaches to all the Pokemon and sunglasses. And then you're like, hey, let me edit my profile and put these cute photos on there so people give me the sweet medals. It's addictive. And then, yeah, I did like kind of going back and trying to do the challenges, although I wasn't having a great time at them. I don't know. I just thought it was real cute. I was constantly just like, what are these Pokemon doing? What are those Pokemon doing? I'm going to take pictures of everything. Oh, I missed doing this. I got to go back again and try to get this Pokemon this time. You know, Pokemon running around playing with each other, Pokemon eating apples, Pokemon swimming, Pokemon flying. I was constantly getting photobombed. I was constantly getting photobombed, which I thought was the funniest thing. Yeah, I
Mm.
just think it's super cute. It's a real chill game. It's probably like the most relaxed I've been playing a game. Like I'm not like worried about doing certain things. I'm like, yeah, I want to get these challenges, but like I can just keep doing it over and over again. So I'll get it eventually, or it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. It's just a game. I liked it. I don't know. What did you like about it, Matt?
Moving on. So what did you not like about
I hated
it?
it.
Honestly,
He hated it.
as an adult playing this, so I did play the original Pokemon Snap way back in the day, and I thought it was boring back then. But I played it.
You're just too grown up for these kiddie games, huh?
I played it most of the way through back then, and I'm fine with like on the rails games. I honestly think that it's a genre that's died a lot, and but it has potentials for a lot of other types of things. But nowadays, the only new titles you see are adults titles. Anyways, there have been a few on the rails games, but like not much. And this is just like the worst way to do one, honestly.
Hey, you were supposed to be talking stuff you talked, but you liked. We're not in the things you hated yet.
Fine. Well, I tried to skip it, and you said talk.
Yeah, you're required to say things you like, even if it's 2 sentences. So,
I
are you
like
done then?
Pokemon. Next subject.
All right. Things we didn't like.
The game.
The game. Now, if anyone remembers what that reference is.
Wow. What is this? Middle school?
Well, this is a throwback to 1999, so sure. All right. Some things that were not as enjoyable were figuring out the rating system. I had a hard time figuring out what would be successful other than centering the image and trying to get a whole body in view. And as Matt already mentioned, you get more points for the headshots. And I was like, wait, you told me to get a full body shot in centered frame, and then I'd have a headshot and more points. Doesn't make sense. What's the difference between a 1-star and a 4-star? I have no idea. And it's like, I'll take a photo shoot and I'll get 2 and 3 stars. And I'm like, well, I can only pick out one of the stars this time. And then sometimes the 2 stars look better to me than the 3 stars. I'm like, don't get me wrong. I said it in my stream. I didn't get a good grade when I took photography in college. I'm not going to say I'm a good photographer. I'm probably a pretty bad one, but I'm like looking at these photos, I'm like, how is this better than this?
Objectively, it's asking you to take bad photos.
Well, then I should have been doing a lot better. Yeah, so I didn't like that. Have I already forgotten the other thing I was going to say I didn't like? I guess technically I wasn't. The challenges were hard to figure out, so I can sort of complain about them on the same note of liking them. They were a little frustrating to figure out. When I mentioned the one about the yawning, like, what was I supposed to do with this thing other than chucking apples at its face to get it to yawn?
Oh my
Like, you know
God.
what I'm saying? And Matt doesn't like this because you're throwing things at Pokemon, but that's the only way to get them to do anything.
No, the reason I don't like the throwing things at the Pokemon or really interacting with the Pokemon at all, because every time they send you out, like, the story premise is, oh, you're taking pictures for our scientific research. If this is scientific research, why am I throwing apples at a Pokemon's face to get it to do a reaction?
Right, you're not wrong. I'm not arguing with you. My question there being is, why are we trying to elicit a reaction? Why is the game trying to get me to elicit a reaction?
If this was for scientific research, we should be A, trying not to be seen, which the Pokemon absolutely see your hovercraft
Be
and
heard,
interact
not
with
seen,
it.
or whatever.
Yeah, and do our best to. If we're there for scientific photography, we should have a big lens, and we should be taking pictures of interactions between the Pokemon and not eliciting responses. I do not like the story premise. I think it actively harms the game. But this is your talking.
I wish I could remember the thing I was going to say that I didn't like that I already forgot. LOL being a podcast for recording live, and I could go back and like see what I said, but no, I'm not doing that. I wasn't a huge fan of the cutscenes. I feel like they could have just gone without being in the game.
Mm-hmm. If the game had no story, it would have been better.
I was fine with the story. It was like that they kept switching between full animated cutscenes and then where there's static images and then the people saying like one or two things. Like
That's common for JRPGs.
I know it's common, but it was annoying to me where it was a game like this and it's like you guys don't need to put this much effort into it. Like would have just had the static images with the 1 or 2 comments would have been better than trying to do the full cutscenes. Like I didn't need the full cutscenes.
Better if they just said you're a tourist, do touristy stuff, take pictures.
But no, you're not a tourist. You're a scientist.
No. You're a 12-year-old.
You're a 12-year-old. Well, you know, a 12-year-old can be a Pokemon master.
There's only 3 people on this island.
I think there's more than 3. Since that other kid randomly shows up. Did you get that far?
No, I did not get that far.
Another kid shows up and he's like, "Don't take my senpai," essentially.
Oh.
Because the guy's like, "Oh, I'll train you," and then the kid shows up and he's like, "Don't take my senpai. He's my teacher."
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anything else you want to talk about? Or should I talk about some stuff?
Didn't I tell you to mention the scanning feature? Did we actually mention the scanning
feature?
Alright, so this isn't annoying for me, but I forgot again because my brain's not functioning right now. Guys, I didn't sleep at all this week. I need to fix
That's not new.
I need to fix myself. But also, I told you to write it down and go over mechanics, and you didn't.
I did not read the game mechanics when I spoke about them.
Oh my god. Anyways, quote unquote, Matt did not get that far. I did. Where you press and hold, I believe is X. It'll pop up something in the middle bottom of the screen, lights up blue for you to scan. You scan the area from your little camera thing, and it'll point an arrow to where you need to look. And if you highlight certain things, it'll give you more information on the plants Or it'll be like, oh, these fruit were recently burned by a Pokemon. Then that kicks you to the challenge where it's like, look for the Pokemon that burn these fruit or whatever. It's just like another interactivity thing.
Overly complicated for a
I
game that
I
isn't
think
easy.
they did also mention that the scanning thing can alert the Pokemon to you, so they focus on you. So I guess if you want to complain about things where you're interacting with the environment when you shouldn't, that bit did. When you do the scan, it alerts the Pokemon.
That would be a good Pokemon like science game. Like, why aren't we going out and like tagging wild Pokemon to like track herds or like taking blood samples, like real science stuff, right?
I'd probably play a game like that. I played the Dragonology game for DS, so I would probably play a game like that. It was a little annoying to queue up more data space when I wanted to save more photos. Like, I get where the game's preset up to only take so much data on the SD card, but once you hit a certain amount of save photos, it's like, oh, well, if you want to save more photos, you need to dedicate more of your space to it. And I'm like, why didn't you guys just assume people were going to take a crap ton of photos and already have this much space queued up?
This is a warning to parents. Your child's gonna fill up their memory card
Oh
with
yeah,
photos.
get a new SD card before you give the kids this game, because unless you're telling them to start deleting photos and they say like all of them, yeah, I mean, I've
Double
only had
check
to
it's saving to the SD card
yeah, I mean,
because by default it does not save to the Switch.
no, I mean it prompted me with the SD card, so I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, I had to do that and that was kind of obnoxious. I get why it's there, but I'm just like, why didn't you already queue up so much data space to be reserved for this? All right, I guess that's all I got. If I want to come back to things I didn't like, I'll circle back after you're done. So, Matt, tell us why you didn't like this game.
Well, the game, as I've mentioned multiple times now, it pretends like you're a scientist studying Pokemon, and then it literally asks you to throw things at the Pokemon. It's just that, like, if the story element had been like, oh, this is like a tourist destination and there are wild Pokemon, we offer tours, I would have found it like less offensive, to be real. The game scores you the way it scores you. It's asking you to take objectively bad photographs. In photography, you learn about composition, the rule of thirds, apertures, and setting up lighting and everything. And I understand that's not what this game's about. This game's about seeing Pokemon, and that's fine. But for a game that's only about taking pictures of Pokemon, why is it saying dead center of frame, like the worst style portrait you can imagine of you, like dead centering a Pokemon that's 200 feet away with a camera that's only got like a times two zoom. It's just asking you to take bad pictures. And it's possible for you, the player, to be like, I don't want to do that. I want to try to take good pictures. And I tried to do that, and I had some fun trying to take actually good looking photographs while playing the game, but the whole game stacked against you doing that. So it's something you could do, not really set up in a way to assist you in doing so. The only way to truly enjoy this game, I feel, is to force yourself to grind through the story to unlock all the islands and then go back and just play around. But the fact that you have to grind through the story, and as Jess mentioned, the challenges, I don't think the challenges add to the game. Like forcing you to take a picture of a Pokemon yawning, you were going to notice the Pokemon yawn anyways. If it was a Pokemon you liked and cared about, you were going to take pictures of it, try to find a cute photograph, and eventually notice that yawn, like, oh, that's adorable, and take a picture. But the game going like, no, you need to take a picture of this Pokemon yawning. Jess spent the whole time desperately trying to get it to yawn and not having fun doing so. It's like a horrible way to gamify a game that shouldn't be gamified, and it's bad. That's most of my thoughts in this game.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, there's not much to the game, so there's not that much to complain about.
I suppose that's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll get to the final rating in a second. I
Yeah.
I guess this is the part where we say if you like this title or looking for something similar to it.
Oh wow, no discussion.
I mean, you wanna.
I think we honestly did discuss it
I
as
mean,
well as we
there's
will.
as you just said, there's not much to this game. There's not a whole lot to discuss. I mean,
Yeah.
we
It
covered the big stuff. I mean,
This game is so aimed at like 5 to 12-year-olds that anyone outside of that age bracket who finds enjoyment in this game is just a really big Pokemon nerd.
me, I'm a big Pokemon nerd.
Yeah. So if you're not a real big Pokemon nerd, well, you probably weren't going to buy the game anyways, but don't.
Right. I mean, it's a $60 game.
What? Oh God.
or no, it's 50. I think it's
Okay,
50.
that's still way too much. But
Yeah, it's a Nintendo title. It's gonna cost a lot,
all right.
and
Well,
unless like again, this is the rating section. Like, what, can we just talk about
uh,
the title recommendation first, and then go to our rating
okay. You
and
want to
break it
talk
down?
about similar titles that you
All
feel
right. So,
to
when it comes
Pokemon
to
Snap?
on rails games, I don't know a ton of on rails games except shooters.
Right.
So,
Most
I
of them
mean,
are.
unless y'all are still cracking out that Wii every once in a while and want to play some rail shooters, I don't have anything to recommend for that because it's gonna be like Ghost Squad, I think, is teen, and then after that, I'd be like Resident Evil, Dark Side, and Umbrella Chronicles, but those are M, so you don't want your kids playing those. Those are kind of graphic.
But a good rail shooter that is well, older children, Star Fox. If you
Fair.
want rails, Star Fox.
Star Fox. Yeah. Anyway, so the games that I thought kind of gave up the same vibe in terms of being, a relaxed, low interaction, like you're not having to memorize a bunch of key bindings, controller bindings, whatnot. Katamari Damacy, which you can get re-roll as a re-release of the original game on Switch, or you can get the original game on PS2. I don't know, and they
Katam-
re-released one for Xbox 360.
Katamari is a game where you're an alien that rolls a ball,
Yeah,
and you want your ball to be the biggest
big
ball.
ball. You're just collecting stuff on a ball. That's it. That's the game.
Hmm.
You're just getting the biggest size ball and rolling over stuff
So
and
imagine making a
houses.
snowball, but instead of snow, it's random objects around the world.
Right. Like the game, when you get farther in it, it does require some skill, but otherwise, it's a pretty basic game. Again, this is on Switch. Donut County, it's the kind of the opposite of Katamari Damacy in terms of instead of collecting things, you are making a giant hole in the ground and sucking everything into the earth. It's kind of story and text heavy. You can skip all of it. It doesn't really matter if you want to know what's obviously happening and why giant holes are showing up and absorbing everything into the center of the earth. You want to read the text, but it's rated E. It's a pretty cute game. I like the graphic style. It's funny.
I think it does a better job gamifying it than Katamari does, because it actually has like things you need to do as a whole
Yes,
that a whole cannot do.
it
So
is.
how do you do?
Yeah, how do you donut? It is technically a puzzle game, so there's some things you have to do to queue up your hole getting larger for you to absorb more things. You have to do certain things in the environment. So it's cool, like how yeah, as Matt was just saying, how do I use a hole to do this? But I'm gonna play it sometime. I don't know, I might stream it on my Twitch, but it looked like a fun game. But again, I mean, it's a simple game. A kid could play it. It's puzzle.
It's like only mouse controls or only analog stick, so
Right.
totally appropriate for children, but they probably will just skip all the text. But there's enough cute stuff in the environment that
Yeah, they're
it
all
won't matter.
animals. They're all animals. There's like one person and everybody else is an animal, so it's cute. What do you got, Matt?
Well, I already mentioned Star Fox. If you want a game about just peaceful exploration in a way that doesn't have a story that makes its own story irrelevant, I would say Abzu, which is an underwater exploration game
I
with,
have that game and I never played it.
yeah, as far as I know, there's like no combat in it. It's just swimming and exploring, finding the story, avoiding the deep sea stuff that'll eat you, and playing with fishies. I said Abzu and not Subnautica because Subnautica is more of a survival game,
Subnautica is interactive and you need to not get
and
eaten.
yeah, I avoided any survival games for my recommendations because I just wanted what's just peaceful things that you can just experience. And somehow Star Fox is on this because rail shooters, because like there's just no good rail games
Right.
for children. If you want a game about photography, I will put this game is not for children, but Umurangi Generation is one of the most interesting photography games I've seen.
Is this lewd?
No, it's a photography game in like how do I describe it? Cyberpunk setting,
Also, since you didn't mention it, Journey.
right?
You
So I
couldn't get
did not
any,
mention
like,
Journey.
the least amount of interaction. It's just a
Mm.
story game and you're wandering around.
So yes and no. If you want to mention Journey, that's cool. We can chat Journey for a second. Thanks for interrupting mine. Journey is a good game. It has similar-ish vibes to Abzu, but is strictly two-player on the internet. That's why I didn't want to mention it. I do believe it's possible to play it single player, but Journey is a unique game where you need to experience it with another human being, but there's no way to communicate. And it's hard to describe. Anyone who doesn't know what Journey is, it was an old PlayStation 3 launch title that it's now on Steam. I highly recommend you purchase it and play it. It's only like 2 to 4 hour story. The whole point of it is to get people to connect, two people, very specifically to get two people to connect with each other without communication. It's a really unique title. I just didn't mention it because it like the only way to get out anything out of the game is multiplayer. If you play it single player, it's probably boring.
I mean, kids like playing together.
Yeah, but you can't actually choose who you play with. There's no match, or there's no way to like join a friend.
There's no split screen.
No, it just randomly puts someone else in your game and you play together. It's really unique. But back to Umurangi Generation, it is an actual photography game set in like a cyberpunk world where you get paid to take pictures. People ask you for specific kinds of pictures, and then you go around the world and try to get those pictures. But it does a much better job in grading the photos than Pokemon Snap does. And it gives you a lot more control over like the actual camera elements. So you can take really artistic pictures in this neat cyberpunk world. It doesn't have an age rating, and I don't think there's mature content, but I have not played through, so maybe in the future we'll talk about it. So that was Umurangi Generation, also with a side of Journey. I do highly recommend Journey. Just it is only multiplayer.
Personal rating. Somewhat.
Somewhat.
This is definitely more for younger kids or Pokemon fans. If you're neither one of those things, you're probably not going to like this game.
This is not an entry in the Pokemon.
This is not an entry into Pokemon. If you want to actually start playing a legitimate Pokemon game, minimum, the most basic you want to get is Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee. But just like get Pokemon Sword or Shield if you have a Switch. If you have an older, there's so many Pokemon games. This isn't a legit Pokemon game. This is a offshoot. So, and again, as I literally iterated, my son was like, why can't we catch Pokemon? You can't catch the Pokemon in this game. They're in the wild. You're supposed to leave them alone. You're chucking apples at them, apparently, and fluting at them. This is just for taking photos. You're fluting at them. You're musicking at them. So yeah, if you don't want something basic for younger kids, or you're not a Pokemon fan, don't bother with this game. That's pretty much the sum of it. What do you think?
Yeah. I would only recommend this title to people with children between the ages of probably 5 at the youngest, up to 12, who are diehard Pokemon fans. If you don't fit any part of that category, go play something else.
Yeah, like I said, I found this game real relaxing, but I'm like a diehard Pokemon fan. I like Pokemon since I was 6 years old. I mean, I never got to, like I said, really play the first one, so this is the first one I could buy. I'm not regretting spending $50 on it. I'm definitely gonna keep playing it. It's a game I can play around my kid and don't have to worry about.
I regret
It's
hearing it's $50.
it's interactive enough for me. Again, it's super cute and I like being able to edit the photos, but again, I'm a Pokemon fan. If I wasn't a Pokemon fan, I don't think I'd care for it at all. Like if this was supposed to be like for a different like thing, like an anime or something that I didn't like, I would probably not have literally any interest in it. So, yeah, that's about it. I wish I could remember the other things I wanted to say, but I didn't write them down, so they're lost to the outskirts of my brain. I'll remember them after we finish wrapping this up, or 3 hours from now. I was a little upset. You got
No,
to
we're
take
done.
you got to take a picture of Pikachu in the tutorial, and I haven't even gotten to a point where I've actually been able to take a picture of a Pikachu yet, and I'm just like, where's the Pikachu? I want to take pictures of the Pikachu. I don't know how many Pokemon are actually in the game.
All right, Jess. So where can people find you?
Alright, fine. Don't answer my question. I could just look at it myself, I guess. Alright, so
200 Pokemon.
200? That's more than I thought because it was very slowly introducing new Pokemon at each level, and I'm just like, give me more. More. Alright. Where can they find me? Well, they can find us at Family Fun Force Podcast. We have a Facebook page. We have a group, Family Fun Force Pod group on Facebook. We had a Twitter. Nobody's doing anything with it. I run the Facebook stuff. I'm still very bad at posting things in there consistently. I try to post a lot more to the pod group just to be interactive with everybody, which I do post sometimes memes and games at RM. I do still post in the pod group just because of what's been popular recently.
There's a link to our Discord and
On the
Facebook
Facebook.
stuff.
Yep. You can join our Discord if you want to talk to us about games or if you want to game with us. We both stream on Twitch and
Yes,
we are both
adults
also on
streams,
YouTube.
asterisk adults.
Yes. Our content can be labeled as adult because we swear and play many mature games, so not necessarily for the kids. I do occasionally play games that are child friendly and I try to censor myself. But so this is where we add on new stuff. So Twitch, Dragon _of_ Rampage. And I also have a YouTube. Same thing, Dragon _of_ Rampage. Except I believe the DNR are capitalized on my YouTube and they're not on Twitch. So that is the biggest difference for me. Where can they find you?
Oh, I'm on Twitch at mr_universe_guy, and I'm on YouTube as mruniverseguy, no underscores. I also have a Twitter, again, adults only, and that's mr_universe_guy.
What are you sharing on your Twitter that's adults only?
Entirely just VTubers and fan art. The fan art is what would get me in trouble.
Sheshi fan art? Are you sharing the Sheshi fan art? I don't do Twitter. I just have a Facebook. I don't really talk about it because I already have enough people on there following me. Whatever. I did finally make an Instagram, but I'm not doing anything with it. And people are friending me, and I'm not noticing because I open it once every 5 weeks or something. I do want to start posting on my Instagram when I'm wearing costumes for my Twitches. I do want to post the photos on there of that because I am working on a cosplay right now for a video game.
Ask me what the next title is.
Hey Matt, what's the next title?
Storm Dorks.
I want you to go to dictionary.com and type in dork.
No, I'm good.
Okay,
Stormworks,
listener, I want you to
build
go.
and rescue.
I want you to go to dictionary.com and type in dork. Tell me why this Storm Dorks is funny. Also, along those same vein, Google what mariners thought they were seeing in the water as sea serpents most likely was. Google that. All right.
Dictionary.com, dork, a contemptible, socially inept person. Vulgar slang in North America. For something else.
All right. So, enough of that. Next title, Stormworks.
Build and rescue.
Guys, I suck with building games. This is going to be interesting.
This is going to be fun. We're going to do this on stream, probably on our collaboration nights.
Catter Day.
Where we're going to see if Dragon can play this game without ever entering the build menu. Because she doesn't like building.
Yeah, I'm going to try to just beg everyone to make things for me. That'll go real well, I'm sure. Okay, guys. Until next time.
Bye-bye.
This was a snap. Catch you later.
Oh, God.
I don't want to know what an On the Rails adult's title is. Oh. It's on a Nintendo Switch system, though, isn't it? Gag me. Alright. There was something else I wanted to complain about, but I don't remember what it is now, so I guess... No, we should be plugging ourselves at the end. That's how podcasts work. Plugs are at the end. Yeah, I'm so sorry that I talk on our podcast, man. I guess you need to find somebody who doesn't want to talk during the podcast. I know it says man's, but it's also a whale's.
Hi, and welcome to the Family Fun Force podcast. I'm Jess.